We got Kyle Bochniak back here on the program. He's going to be taking on Hakeem Dawodu at UFC 231 on December 8th. Kyle, what's going on, man? How are you?
What's up, brother? I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, it's good to chat with you again. Now, are you back home right now? I know you were in Montreal training at Tristar. Did you manage to get to Thanksgiving at home?
No, I was actually in Montreal, Tristar for Thanksgiving, so I didn't do much. Making a lot of sacrifices for this camp. But yeah, I'm home now. Healing up this last week and ready to go.
What's the connection at Tristar? How did you end up training there?
Nothing really. Just felt like, wanted to go all in, get some different looks with some high-level guys. So, we just made the trip. I knew Eric Spicely, who's up there.
Okay, there we go. That's a connection.
So I got in there, trained those guys. It was a good fit, and I like it a lot, so I'll be back.
That's good. Who were some of the guys you got to train with down there?
Everybody, man. There's so many good guys up there, but, the crew of like Eric Spicely, Mandel, Arnold Allen, Mercard, Eamon, just everybody, Louis, so many good guys up there. Guys coming from all parts of the world coming to train. Everybody has fights. Everybody's in shape. Everyone's coming. So it was just a good look and a good atmosphere and a good way to test myself and definitely just broaden my skill sets and train under Faraz and get some high level sparring and drilling. So it was good.
Yeah, and I know one of the things that Eric really likes about being there is that everything's really structured. Like, you know exactly what you're doing every day. It's not really loose end. It's not like, hey, I'll show up to the gym maybe around this time. Guys are there right on the dot. Did you find that very sort of, not military style, but very organized?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point because, the schedule that's one of the best things is the schedule. You have striking in the morning and then grappling at night, or grappling in the morning, striking at night. It's at 1 o'clock, and then you have a good break, and then you have your next class at night. And there's no late. No one's showing up late. Everyone's showing up to work. Everybody works hard. Everybody, you got to do your warm-ups on your own. Be ready to go right when the bell rings. And it's a short but high intense class. You go home, get your recovery. So there was no playing around, and it was all game time. So that's what I liked about it.
How long were you down there for?
I did 1 week 2 weeks ago. I came home for another week, and then I just did my another week last week. So 2 weeks. So I spent about 2 weeks, a quarter of my camp up there, and it worked out well.
You just going solo, or did your wife come with you?
No, I went up with John Clark, my head coach. So he came up with me. Yeah, and actually it was my anniversary a couple of weeks ago. So me and my wife went up to Old Montreal.
I was gonna say because that's why I brought that up because that's like a good spot to bring like a significant other because Montreal is it's like a European city in Canada. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. So she came up for we did a long weekend thing, celebrated, went to a couple places in Old Montreal. She flew back home, and then I went up to TriStar and stayed at the dorms. So she wouldn't like the dorms. It's crazy there. And
no, I know. But, who did you room with in the dorms?
I had my own room, which is cool. So I was on the east side with a bunch of professionals. So everybody, there's like 8 rooms up there. You have a sink and a shower. That's about it, and a community bathroom and a community kitchen. So, it was pretty cool, yeah.
It's like being in college, which is great.
Exactly.
Just last thing on TriStar, you mentioned Mandel Nalo. I just hear he is the best guy in the gym to train with. He's so talented. We saw a little bit of that in his last fight with the win over Banks. But what was it getting to train with him? Because we just hear everyone I talk to at TriStar just says that this guy's going to be a future world champion.
Oh, hell yeah. He's a future world champ for sure, man. He's got everything. He's super slick. Just super athletic. He's amazing. His striking's on a whole nother level. So to get a look from that guy, it's he's probably the best striker there. But he's just a gifted athlete, and he's well-rounded every single place on the mat, wrestling, striking. He's a killer. You saw his last fight at Bellator. He's definitely going places. So keep an eye out for that kid.
Let's talk about Hakeem Dawodu. Your last fight, you had to take on a really tough up-and-coming prospect. You got the same thing here in Hakeem. He's been sort of hyped on the Canadian scene. How do you feel like you match up against him here?
Match up well, man. He's a super athletic, explosive, strong kid. I am too. I have a lot more experience, and I think I'm a more well-rounded fighter. So, we'll see all assets of my game and facets of my game, and I'm excited for it.
One of the things we haven't seen a lot of with Hakeem is, him, going the distance a lot. I know he did in his last fight, and I know he had, I think, 1 or 2 fights on the regional scene, but a lot of his fights have been quick finishes. You've been in wars. I mean, we just have to look at your last fight with Zabit. You talked about experience. How about in-cage experience? Do you feel like that's going to play a factor with just the amount of wars and sort of the type of fights you've been in?
Yeah, man. For one thing, I'll say I'm definitely battle tested. I came in the UFC a little green, had some tunnel vision with some game plans and stuff like that. But I've been in some wars. Every single fight I've been to the distance, so my cardio is no problem. I know I can finish fights. It's just, I've had a couple tough matchups and stuff like that, but it just battle tested me, and I fixed those holes. I know the holes in my game. I've been exposed a couple times. I went back to the drawing board and I fixed those holes. I had a great performance last time versus Zabit, and it was a war. So everybody knows I have heart. You could be a strong guy, you can be an athletic guy, but what matters is what's up here. And I have heart and my mind is strong, so I know I can go the distance. Like I said, I have the experience. Found my style, and you're gonna see it this fight. I have skills, I have the mindset, and I have the heart. So I'm really excited about this performance.
How's the weight cut going?
It's perfect. I'm lighter than ever. I feel good. I'm healthier than ever. Usually I go into fight week around 162, 164. I'm 158 right now. Weight's perfect. I haven't cheated at all. I was in Montreal for Thanksgiving. I was eating hard-boiled eggs and bread and honey. I'm ready to go, man.
Right. No poutine for you in Montreal, I guess.
No. Oh, no, my coach got it, but I had to hold back on it. He told me to live a little, but I want to do everything right. So when I go in this fight, I knew I did everything right. So it's my time.
Plus, there's a couple of poutine joints I think in Toronto that you could feast on or whatever. So I'll give you some.
Right,
I'll give you some good recommendations after the after the
that's
fight.
With the cheese and the gravy, right, on the fries.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's sort of like the known thing in Montreal. That and the smoked meat, but poutine for sure. You gotta check that out. So
hell yeah.
On that note, who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
Always my head coach Sean Clark, my buddy jiu-jitsu partner Sean Fisher, and my boxing coach Peter Welch.
And how do you see this fight playing out?
Explosive, fast pace, entertaining as hell. There's going to be a finish somewhere. We're both coming for it, so it's going to be exciting. I wish they put up higher on the card, but we'll see where we lie on the fight card. And just excited, man.
What's next for you after this fight? I would imagine the UFC, you're sort of in their good books because you took this fight against Zabit in the fight before, and it ended up being just an amazing fight. And it was a fight I know a lot of other featherweights didn't want. What's sort of the status after this?
Status is really just whatever's on my brain. Everything I've done for the past 3 months is for December 8th. I haven't really looked past December 8th. All I know is December 8th is Hakeem Dawodu, and it's my time to shine, and we'll see what happens after then. I know I have a couple more fights in my fight contract, but it's time to, I'm battle tested. I found my style. I'm a professional now, and it's time to go in there and do what killers do, and then we'll see what happens after this fight.
Most important question in this interview: did you bring the video game system with you to Montreal to play in the dorm, or did you leave that at home?
Bro, no, I didn't bring anything. So I was just in the dorm, recovering, training, eating, sleeping, just basically living like a dog and looking forward to December 8th. That's it. I haven't done anything, man.
Haven't got to see the city much other than when you went with your wife?
Yeah, that was old Montreal. That was it. And then when I was at Tristar, I was in the dorm. That's it.
Like Rocky, just sort of plugging away at it, eating the food, going to training, all that stuff. So
yeah, that's it.
Cool, man. All right, well, I'm looking forward to it. It's coming up here next week. It is UFC 231. Kyle, always appreciate the time, man. Just remind people where they can find you on social media, and if you have any sponsors or shout-outs, the floor is yours.
Thanks, James. You guys can follow me, Kyle Bochniak UFC, on Instagram and Kyle Bochniak on Twitter. And appreciate all the support, and make sure to tune in December 8th, UFC 231.